Special thank you to my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel and supporting my content. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be once again returning to r/entitledparents. It's been a little while since I had a look at this, and oh boy, are we all ready to get angry today at some entitled parents? Because we got some fun stories today. It's gonna be great. Very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention, as always, I will be live over at Twitch. The link will be in the description. I'll be live on Thursday at 7 PM UK time, so go check that out. It's always a good time. I don't know what we'll be doing. We might be playing some games, I might be painting some Warhammer, something like that, but do go check it out, it's always a fun time. Other than that, let's get into the subreddit, shall we? The time an entitled mum tried to reserve my cat for her kid's birthday. So I, 18 female, have a very fluffy, very adorable cat named Mochi. He's basically my little buddy, and he's got one of those Instagram accounts where I post his funny antics, so a lot of people in my neighborhood know about him, including this one mum I'll call EM, who has a 6-year-old daughter, super into cats. No biggie, right? One day EM messages me on Instagram saying her daughter is absolutely obsessed with Mochi, and asking if I could bring him to her daughter's birthday party the following weekend so the kids can play with him. I politely decline, explaining that Mochi doesn't do well in new environments and would likely hide or freak out around loud kids. EM's response, well, you can loan him to us for the day. Yes, she literally wanted me to hand over my cat as if he was a library book or something. She promised they'd take good care of him and even offered to pay me $20 for the inconvenience. I politely refuse again, saying that Mochi isn't up for learn, and I don't think it would be safe or comfortable for him. EM immediately switches tactics, calling me selfish and accusing me of gatekeeping joy from her daughter. She rants about how it's just one day and I owe it to the community because I flaunt Mochi's photos online. Now I'm getting irritated. I tell her that my cat isn't an accessory and he's definitely something I owe to the neighborhood. I assume that's the end of it, until the day of the party. I'm in my apartment when I hear a loud knock at my door. It's EM and her daughter, with the girl holding a sparkly cat carrier. EM says, oh, we came to pick up Mochi. She acts as if we had agreed on this and just expected me to hand him over on demand. I completely stunned, I tell her, I never agreed to this and I'm not giving you my cat. EM's smile drops instantly and she launches into this loud dramatic rant about how I'm ruining her daughter's special day and that I shouldn't show off my cat if I don't want to share. Her daughter starts tearing up and EM gives me this accusing look like I've just broken her kid's heart on purpose. My neighbor down the hall actually poked her head out to see what was going on, which was enough for EM to grab her daughter and storm off yelling, I'll make sure everyone knows how selfish you are. Later I found out from mutual friends that she spread a story around the neighborhood that I baited her daughter with Mochi, only to withhold him out of spite. No one really believed her, but she still gives me the dirtiest looks anytime I pass her. Mochi, completely oblivious and unbothered, living his best life as usual. Wow, there's layers. There's always layers to these posts, but there's layers to this. I mean, first of all, just messaging someone on the internet and asking them if you could borrow their cat is weird. Not respecting the fact that a lot of cats don't do well just being thrown into new environments with new people. Also weird. Like, that's a pretty common thing. $20 to rent someone's cat is shockingly low. Shockingly low for a whole day. That's shockingly low. And then yeah, just turning up at her door and being like, well, you can't say no because I've brought my child now. And then being like, how dare you say no? I brought my child. Just the whole entitlement and just everything about this is just insane. And then spreading lies about OP like, oh, you baited my daughter by posting pictures on Instagram. That's a normal thing that hundreds of people do, thousands of people do, millions of people do. She's allowed to post pictures of her pet online. That's called having a pet. In-laws told autistic husband to get rid of his guinea pigs. Bro, I can't frankly even compose myself. I'm so f***ing mad. So my husband, 29 male, is autistic and super attached to his guinea pigs. There has been a fly infestation in the house long before we moved in with my husband's parents, because they have backed up garbage disposal always filled with rotting food. Today my in-laws cornered my husband in the kitchen right after we got home from work, and father-in-law started yelling that there are flies in the house because of the guinea pigs, so that the flies would go away. He did not specifically how he thought the flies would just vanish. It's been only a few hours and my husband is f***ing devastated. He's being a trooper, but I can tell how hard he's taking it. I hate my in-laws, I hate these people, and I desire nothing more than to move away from these monsters. But it's right now, it's this or on the street. So the advice to move is kinda just a slap in the face. I don't know, I'm just really struggling, and I feel like this crosses a line in a huge way. Yeah, it does. I feel like the best thing you can do is prove that the guinea pigs aren't doing it. Like, if you can make the room that the guinea pigs are kept in, like, so fly free that they couldn't possibly go, oh, it's the guinea pigs causing it, you know, just prove that, hey, maybe if you cleaned out your fucking garbage disposal and stopped using it to dispose of gross foods that you shouldn't put in a garbage disposal. But parents like this are never going to react like that. They're always going to try and find someone else to blame than realize, oh, maybe it's their own idiocy that is at fault. No, it's always going to be your fault. So yeah, it sucks that you're unable to move away, and I get that that's the only thing you want, but working towards that, I hope you're really able to achieve it, honestly, because this sounds like a horrible environment. Seriously, what the hell does a person have to do to be found in contempt of court these days? My brother and his ex are going to court for the third time because his ex keeps refusing to comply with court orders and refuses to do handovers with my brother for his court-ordered custody time with his daughter. She's getting more extreme. She's changed her daughter's nursery schedule after she's settled and used to the other kids, and is now threatening to pull their daughter out of nursery altogether so he can't pick her up. Basically, she's willing to mess her child around just to get one over on my brother. The most recent problem started with, wait for it, him and his daughter unintentionally being in the supermarket at the same time as her. How dare he go and buy food for his daughter, right? At their handover, her grandmother started screaming at him for this, and despite him having a recording on his phone of this incident, the ex is accusing him of starting it. At every turn, my brother is trying to be the bigger person, but ex is refusing to communicate with him regarding important information about my niece. One time she didn't tell him that she had an upset stomach at handover. He took her home and gave her a snack as usual, and she threw it up. At another time, she became unwell during my brother's time with her, and she refused to tell him which GP she was registered with. Social services had to intervene. He's been trying to talk to her about potty training for a while, not something he can start himself if the other parent isn't going to do it too, since she started showing signs she was ready. She only now decided it was time when she started pulling poo out of her nappy and making a mess with it. So now they're going to court over this for a third time at the taxpayer's expense because they're both getting legal aid, and they're probably not going to reprimand her for it. What she's doing is a finable offense. It can result in prison time in some circumstances. They're more likely to give her a freaking medal instead. Alternatively, if it had been my brother acting like this, they would have come down on him hard. They had no trouble stopping him from seeing her when my ex falsely accused him of rape, and she faced no consequences when it came out that this was false. I'm sorry this hasn't had a satisfying ending like a lot of stories on this subreddit. Sadly, sometimes the entitled excuses for parents consistently get exactly what they want. Update. Oh, there's an update to this one. Let's go read that before I talk about it. Update 2. Seriously, what the hell does a person have to do to be found in contempt of court these days? Seriously, what the hell does a person have to do to get arrested these days? Wasn't expecting to have an update until after they went to court again. Presumably because her solicitor had words with her, my brother's ex took her to nursery on Monday for my brother to pick her up. On Tuesday morning, niece had diarrhea, and nursery rules say she had to wait 48 hours since the last bout of diarrhea, meaning she can go back on Friday. In accordance with his ex's wishes to not do handover away from the nursery, he sent her a message informing her that she had a stomach bug and that he'd have to keep her till Friday morning. Well, this didn't sit well with her. Yesterday afternoon, she showed up at the house with her partner and 2 other men and started knocking on the door. It was just the 2 of us home, plus my niece who was napping upstairs, and the dog. My brother opened the door. He only saw 2 people through the window first and didn't expect things to turn to shit. He sees the gang there, tries to shut the door, and they are pushing against it. I went to help him and we struggled to get the door shut. My brother had to punch one of them in the face to get them away from the door so he could get it shut. He managed to get it shut, unlocked, and I called the police. They remain outside shouting obscenities, one of them banging on the back window as if trying to break it. It's terrifying to think what could have happened. I was preparing to walk the dog at the time. I was looking for my glasses, so I was a few minutes later than planned. If I hadn't been looking for my glasses, I'd have been by the front door when they knocked. Brother still upstairs. I would have opened it and possibly been attacked. Dog too if he tried to get aggressive. Then they would have moved on upstairs and jumped my brother with my niece watching. So the police turn up and we let them in only after they've asked the thugs to move further away from the house. We told them what happened. My brother explained what the ex has been doing lately and why he kept my niece today. At one point they actually said that because he'd admitted to punching one of them, they could just arrest the whole lot of them, including him. Again, they were actively trying to force the door open while we were on the other side trying to get it shut. He is well within his rights to use reasonable force in that situation. They went back outside to contact someone higher up to determine whether they should take her. When my brother tried to close the door behind them, one of the officers tried to stick her foot in the door to stop it. Definite no in the UK, though one of her colleagues told her to move her foot. One of them came back in to ensure that there was ample food and medication there for my niece and allowed my brother to keep her until Friday. They moved the gang along and left. I didn't take the dog out because I was afraid they were still hanging around. They actually were, because when my mum and auntie got back half an hour later, they said their taxi passed them walking up the hill. Small update, there is an emergency family court hearing on Friday. I'm not going to court, but I am sending a written statement to be read. A neighbor who witnessed it is also sending a statement. My brother is pressing charges against them, and the police came to take statements from us this evening. Okay, so there's once again a lot to unpack here, but unfortunately the state of court and the state of child custody absolutely weighs in favor of the mother almost every time. And unfortunately that's the way it is, and it sucks. The fact that she's able to break court-ordered rules and see no consequences, lie and see no consequences, is actually insane. But the fact now that she's basically brought a gang to attack them, and the fact that the police would be like, oh, you were defending your home by hitting a guy who was trying to break into your house, you can be held accountable for that. I live in the UK and I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to defend my home. I'm pretty sure that he didn't even use a weapon, so it can't even be claimed that it was assault with a weapon, which could possibly be considered illegal even in self-defense in the UK. He hit the guy who was trying to break into his house. Surely he's in his right to stop someone from breaking into his house, especially when he has a young child in the house and he sees some strangers coming to take away this child from his house. Edit just to say that in the UK you can use reasonable force against intruders. That includes using reasonable force to protect yourself or others if crime is taking place inside your home. That means you can in fact protect yourself using a weapon and stop intruders from running off, for example tackling them to the ground. There's no specific definition of reasonable force. Basically, if you believe that what you did was reasonable, you'll probably be protected by the law, and you do not have to wait to be attacked before defending yourself in your home. Therefore, what this man did to defend his home, not only did he not even use a weapon, but he was absolutely well within his rights of using reasonable force to stop someone forcing themselves into his home in which he had a child. Furthermore, this means that the police that accused him and said that they could take him up on crimes as well was lying and doesn't know their own laws at all. Surprise, surprise, the police lie and don't know their own laws. I can only expect, unfortunately, the court is still gonna somehow rule this in the mother's favor, because that always happens. But the fact that the mother would be willing to literally use violence to break it's so frustrating, and I genuinely hope the best for the dad, and I hope that the court will finally listen and maybe actually do something about what is clearly not a mentally sound mother who's trying to use violence to prevent the father from seeing his own child through nothing else but the fact that she dislikes him after she's already been caught lying about things and already trying to mess around the child's life just to spite him. It's so frustrating, and I genuinely wish you the best, OP, and I wish your brother the best as well. And that is where I'm going to end the video, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. Oh boy. As always, if you would like to support me, then I have a Patreon in the description down below. Or equally, you can click on that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. A huge, massive special thank you to all of the wonderful, amazing people that do support me though. All of your names are on screen right now, and it genuinely helps so much. So thank you to everybody that does. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.